Today on Tesla Tech, we're going to go over how to install a third-generation Tesla wall connector in my garage and cover some useful tips and tricks along the way to help you install yours. So grab a seat, buckle in, and let's get to it. So I just ordered a Tesla Model Y, which should be here in a month or so, and I need to prepare my garage for charging. There are plenty of unboxing videos for the Gen 3 wall connector already, so we'll skip all of that and get the materials together and get right to the install. We're installing the wall connector in the same wall as the load center 3 feet away and mounting it inside a garage. So I've opted to use 6-gauge Romex NMB63 wire, which means that it has 3 6-gauge insulated wires plus a bare 10-gauge ground wire. Even though the run is only 3 feet away, I bought 10 feet of wire to account for the running up and down of the walls, a little bit extra within each box, and some slack just in case. If you run your wiring exposed to your outside walls, you may need to run yours through some sort of conduit like EMT, flex, or Schedule 80 pipe to meet your code requirements. We need a double pole 60 amp standard breaker that matches our load center. Mine is a GE, so I bought the GE 60 amp breaker to match. You may have another brand like Square D. Just make sure to get the right 60 amp breaker that fits your specific load center. The National Electric Code, or NEC for short, requires GFCI or ground fault circuit interruption for this type of install. However, according to the instruction manual, which you can find in the link in the description below, the wall connector has integrated GFCI protection, so you don't have to buy a GFCI breaker to do this install. In fact, on page 5, Tesla specifically tells you to not install a GFCI breaker. We will also need properly sized cable straps which accommodate 6'3" wire to secure the wire to the studs. Just look on the packaging, it will tell you which size conductors the staples or cable straps will hold. We will also need 2 3/4 inch non-metallic cable clamps to secure the wires to the bottom of the Tesla wall connector and for the knockout at the bottom of the load center. A set of electrician's pliers, an insulated screwdriver set or multi-tool which has bits for standard electrician square drive, a number 2 Phillips head, and a medium flathead. A cable cutter or lineman's pliers, a drill with either 3/4 or 1 inch drill bit in order to create the hole in the 2x4 to run the cable between the studs, a 1/4 inch bit torque wrench to properly fasten the conductors to the specs required, which is 50 inch-pounds, flathead or pinhead screws to fasten the cable clamps to the studs, and finally we'll need a level to make sure we don't install the wall connector crooked. I'll be using the Measure app on my iPhone. First, we need to shut down the power to the house by turning off the main breaker. Now we need to choose a location on the panel with 2 open slots on top of each other to install the double pole 60 amp breaker. We need to get a double tall slot because the load centers are wired with alternating bus bars, which means they actually have 2 120 volt hot wires coming into the panel from the power company. In this case, I've chosen the next 2 available slots, number 25 and 27. You can see the bus bars alternate in a vertical fashion, which means that slot 25 is pulling from hot leg 1, while 27 is pulling from hot leg 2, each carrying 120 volts. When you add them together, it gives us the 240 volts we want. Now that the power is shut off, we can take off the front cover panel. It's important to remember that even though we shut off the main breaker, the 2 thick black wires coming into the panel from the meter are still hot, so stay clear of them. Now that we've got the panel off, you see I've already punched out the slug from the bottom and tightened the nut and run the wiring through. Since my camera wasn't recording while I did the wiring, I'll demonstrate it again on this excess piece of cable. Slide a loosened clamp over the entire unstripped cable and give yourself enough length to the longest run. Then snug down the clamp using your square drive bit. Not too tight, just enough to snug the cable. Now very carefully with a sharp knife, run a shallow cut long ways in between the gap of the inner cables and then peel back the cover. Now just gently score or cut across the cover, just deep enough to score the cover itself. Careful not to cut into any of the cable insulation underneath. You can also peel it back and just slice the cover only from the underneath so as to not take a chance of scoring the cable insulation. Now prepare the circuit breaker by loosening the screw posts and install the circuit breaker into the slots. In this panel it has a hinged catch on the outer edge and then just click it into the middle. So let's discuss wiring for a second. Technically speaking, this run should be sized as 4-2 wire, which is rated for 70 amps, meaning that it has two 4-gauge insulated conductors plus a bare copper 8-gauge ground wire. This is because the code requirement states that the circuit breaker must be rated at or below the max amp rating of the wire. Since 6-gauge NM wire is only rated at 55 amps, it should technically not be tied to a 60 amp breaker. However, in practice, since the wall connector is hardwired to this circuit and we know nothing else will be plugged into it, and the vehicle's onboard charger regulates a limit of 48 amps, it's therefore less than the 6 gauges rating of 55 amps, so this will be safe. And frankly, I couldn't find 4.2 or 4.3 Romex NM wire at Home Depot or Lowe's. Sure, I could have special ordered 4.3 Romex off the internet, but since the 6.3 wire would work in this case, I just went with that instead. As for the wire colors, we're going to cut the bare 10-gauge ground wire out and only use the 3 insulated 6-gauge conductors. Normally on this type of run, you would use the 2 insulated conductors for the hot legs and the thinner 10-gauge bare wire for the ground. I want the ground to be thicker and insulated, so I'm going to use the standard black and red for the hot legs, just like they normally are. But for the ground wire, I'm going to make it white, which is normally the neutral wire on a 120 volt circuit, but here we're going to use it for the ground instead. While we're on this topic, you need to understand something important. This panel is the only and main load center in the house, which means that the grounds and neutrals are tied together with this bus bar at the bottom. If we were installing this in a sub-panel off of another main load center somewhere else in the house, the grounds and the neutrals would be separated on the sub-panel, in which case I definitely would not run this white wire as your ground because it might get confused as a neutral to anyone coming to look at this panel in the future. Notice how I'm bending them at 90-degree angles with a slight radius. This is an industry best practice. You don't really want sharp 90-degree bends in your wires. It causes resistance, which in turn causes excess heat. Remember that all the connectors, whether the wall connector, the CMC, or the UMC, are all just supplying the power available in the circuit to the charger in the car. The charging module itself in the car is what regulates the charging rate. So the first thing to know is that while the old Gen 2 wall connector was capable of 240 volts on an 80 amp circuit, effectively giving you 64 amp charging, that really only serves the Model S and Model X. Beginning with the Model 3 and now with the Model Y, outside of DC supercharging, they're limited to charge at 48 amps AC for the 75 watt-hour battery pack, which are in the long-range dual motor and the Performance Edition, while the 50 watt-hour pack and the Short Range Plus will only charge it up to 32 amps. If you have the 50 watt-hour pack in your Tesla, I would recommend you just installing the NEMA 1450 receptacle and putting it on a GFCI circuit. Then get the 1450 adapter for your UMC for $35. You just simply won't get any faster charging from the more expensive wall connector. Like many others, I've considered making a NEMA 1450 outlet and just buying the $35 adapter from Tesla for the mobile connector the car comes with. But in my case, there were factors that made me decide to spend the $500 on the wall connector. Number 1 is speed. A NEMA 1450 outlet will only supply 240 volts at 50 amps. Using the NEC load calculator with 80%, that puts your available continuous charge current at 40 amps, which for an 80% recharge of a 75 kilowatt-hour Tesla would make as 6.5 hours. Whereas with a 60 amp circuit on the wall connector, which provides 48 amp charging, that takes the charge time down by an hour to around 5.5 hours. Number 2 is convenience. I want to have a mobile connector in the car at all times just in case. Sure, I could unplug it after every recharge, but the 1450 plug isn't designed to be taken in and out daily, and it will wear out over time. Also, I could leave in a rush one day and forget to unplug it and put it back in the Model Y and find myself needing to use it. Number 3 is cost. I could have bought another dedicated connector for the house, either the CMC that has a hardwired 1450 plug for $520, which makes absolutely no sense since the wall connector is $20 cheaper, charges faster, and it's better looking. Or the other option is to buy a second UMC, but at $300 plus another $35 for the 1450 adapter, I figured I'd just spend the extra $165 and have a better looking and faster permanent solution. Also, if you're planning on getting an electrical plan that has peak and off-peak hours, you'll actually save money in the long run by not having your charging cycle spill over into the peak rates with the slower chargers. Or even worse, consuming more energy per day than you can recharge back into your car. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and share it with your friends. Also, if you want to see more videos from us, consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell icon so YouTube notifies you when we post up new videos. If you have any questions on this topic or suggestions for new videos, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching Tesla Tech and have a great day. Wait, you're still here? Alright, here, have a bonus chart.